Hello, Susannah here from The Good Property Company. So do subscribe to our videos because they're going to be pretty useful for you. I'm on a total roll. I'm going through our deals that we've done so that we can look at the figures, look at the maths and take some of the stuff that we learned and maybe either you implement it yourselves and absolutely go for it, fill your boots, or you hear some of the things that I made mistakes on and think, do you know what, Sus? Because of you, I'm going to sidestep that particular mistake and I'll have fewer sleepless nights. So I hope you do really well in property. Right, we're on property number 7. I was still working my day job. I was getting quite tired by this point because, let me be truthful, you know, it's quite a lot of hard work. I had no intention of going and raising finance, but as you heard from the previous video, where I bought a property at auction where I got a retention, it meant I really quickly had to go and raise finance for it. So I'd started to learn that I wanted to raise finance, and here is a deal in question. This was my 7th property, the last property I bought before I jumped up my day job. By this point, by the time I bought this property, my properties were worth 1.8 million, which now I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But at the time, felt like unbelievable. And this was my first shared house or HMO. I had previously applied to buy another HMO and then I pulled out because I was too scared. I mean, I never pull out deals. So if you are a little bit nervous about running shared houses or HMOs, don't worry, I was too. And then as soon as I got a taste for the first one, understood that as long as you're compliant, make sure everything's as good as it possibly can be for your tenants, boom, I just went for it and I bought HMO after HMO and did very, very well. So let's talk about the first HMO. It had been in the same family since it had been built. So it had been in the same family for way over 100 years. As a result, it was knackered. And that's the only way to put it. It was absolutely, completely unmortgageable. I bought it for 150,000. I had been phoning, how did I get it? I'd been phoning estate agents all day and not one person, everyone was going, you're mad, you can't get discounted deals, this doesn't exist. And I'm thinking, well, I've done 6 already, so it does, but I'll be polite to you. And the only kind of little bite I got was a guy called David, an estate agent, saying, Sus, I'm so sorry, I literally have just sold one. I'm like, oh, gutted. And I was just kind of, you know, those self-doubt moments where you're just like, what I'm doing is really silly, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm fooling myself, all those silly things that go on in your brain, you probably feel them too. That was what was happening. Anyway, went back on the phone the next day, all I did was phone out estate agents all day, nothing happened at all, it was very depressing. I was eating an awful lot of Nutella just to make myself move forward. Got back on the phone the next day and David phoned back and went, Sus, a buyer's just dropped out, do you want it? I was out seeing that property within 20 minutes and within 40 minutes I had it under offer. So figures are, bought it for 150 and it was worth 235 done up. And I did spend just under 50 grand doing it up. So it wasn't a perfect deal. I did leave some money in. But how did I buy it? Private finance. By this point, I'd already raised a little bit of private finance. I'd already met a whole bunch of people. I'd already had some great relationships. And I was like, I am on a mission to jump out of my day job. I cannot do that with the 60 grand that I had when I started my property business, which I took out my personal mortgage. I have to go faster in order to... I loved my job, but it was a prison, like any job. The content of the job, the people were amazing. The fact I had to be in a particular location at this time to this time and I couldn't move, I was boxed in. No way, this is my life. So I raised actually 167,500 from an investor who became a very good friend of mine. Mind, I only bought it for 150, and then the refurb money I raised from a second investor. So I had a first charge and a mortgage, a private mortgage from the first investor, and then the second investor was just a loan with a personal guarantee. I renovated the property, it was worth 235, and I have made for the last decade over £1,000 a month net, which is not bad. So one of the things I want you to think about is there is nothing that ever needs to stop you. If the deal is good, the property is good, it's high yielding, it's high profit making, and you're buying it discounted so you can refinance, pay the majority of the money back out, and then the profit can pay the rest of the money back out, or you run some buy to sell strategies alongside just to make sure you're going as safe as you possibly can for your investors. There's nothing that should ever stop you. No mortgage company would give me a mortgage for this property. It was too knackered. All right, if you want to know more about raising private finance, over here you can click on and download immediately my fundraising pack. It is stacked full of everything I use to raise millions of pounds. Well worth downloading now.